Hey everyone, how's it going? Eric here, and today I wanted to talk about Captain Toad's latest DLC pack. You see, it's released, and well, I didn't know a lot of information about it, and to find out more, turns out I had to dive into a lot of spoilers. So I want to offer a way for you guys, a spoiler-free way to do that. If my jumper blend in with the wall, I think I could just disappear if I just walk back here. Now I'm going to whack some timestamps down below, so if you're after a certain bit of information, this won't take long anyway, but you feel free to jump down to those timestamps. How much does it cost? It's $6 USD, it's $9 Australian, and as for the rest of the world, do a little bit of a conversion there and you'll get the rough idea of a price. Point is, it's pretty cheap. Is it on the 3DS and Wii U? Nope. That is the controversial point that I do want to get into a little bit later. So if you do want this, you can only purchase it on your Switch. In the description it says 18 chapters, but only 5 levels. So the reason it says that is that there are 5 new levels and then there's 13 levels that are old levels with a new twist to them. So if we do some basic maths here, we can figure out that's a total of 18 chapters, if you want to call them that, or that's what they call them. But from what I hear, the twists on the levels are quite fun and creative. So I don't think that it's necessarily too bad a thing that there's 13 other levels here that have been recreated. How long would it take me to complete? This is a little bit of a tricky question because it can be up to the person, obviously depending on your skill level and how fast you rush through it, whether you 100% everything. But the basic, what I'm hearing around the internet, is something like 2 to 3 hours and maybe another one on top of that if you want to do everything, if you want to collect everything. Do I need to finish the main campaign first? Nope, this is completely separate. So when you boot into the game, a new menu will be dropped down the bottom and you can jump into that one. In fact, from what I hear, a lot of the collectibles and everything you get in this are completely separate to the collectibles that you would actually get in the main game. So in that way, it's just a completely separate chapter, completely separate collectibles, everything's completely separate. And last one I have here is 2-player support part of the deal? And nope, that was a free update that came out before this. Well, hopefully that answered all the questions that you have. If you have any more, leave them down below and either me or someone else who sees this might jump on those questions for you. And now, as we mentioned earlier, the DLC isn't coming out for the 3DS and the Wii U version. And that's causing a little bit of controversy. It's bringing up some moral ground. Should Nintendo be releasing this as well for those other systems? Like, especially in this case for the 3DS. The 3DS released at the same time as the Switch version, so perhaps they should both get the DLC. And then even the Wii U, this is just a port of a Wii U version. Technically it's only like 4 or 5 years old, somewhere in that hazy ground. And considering it's only that old and it's just a port of the version, why aren't both getting it? Well, the obvious answer here is development costs. They probably can't cover the development cost of putting it on those other versions when not enough people are going to buy them in the first place. Especially with 3DS, I don't know if a lot of people buy DLC on the 3DS, but I can't imagine that being huge. And the Wii U is an old, unsupported console now, so it's not really surprising that they're not going back to that well, especially with the smaller user base that has mostly moved onto the Switch. But that does bring up another little bit of moral high ground here to people who maybe have bought the Switch, but haven't bothered double dipping, in other words, buying the game twice, again for the Switch, because, well, maybe they couldn't justify the price of buying the same game twice with just a little bit of changed content. Now, the price for them is no longer the $6 price that the DLC may be costing in the USD, but the price to them is now the $46 because they have to buy it again and that. And so I can understand people's frustration there to say, that's really bad, that's annoying. Like, I don't want to have to pay that much for that game again. It's just for a few extra levels. But then I can also understand the argument that the Wii U is an old console now, it's no longer supported. How long can they keep supporting it? It's not like, depending how far back ports go, it's not like they can support ports forever. That's a really hard sentence. It's not like they can support ports forever. There has to be a certain point where they go, here's the cutoff. And I'm guessing, well, obviously, Nintendo has reached that point. Now, personally, being someone who owns a Switch and a Wii U, and Captain Toad on both of them, because I'm just a big dork like that and really enjoyed that game and was happy to buy it again on that, it doesn't really bother me that much. Honestly, it's just like, because to me, it's just another $6 purchase. So it's hard to put myself in the shoes of the people who maybe are still on the Wii U, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. Now, if I'm to jump off my high horse of, I support everyone and everyone's equal here, and actually choose a side here like any person with a backbone would do, I have to say that I don't think this is a bad act. I think the Wii U is an old, unsupported console now, and that the game has been ported over. It makes sense for them just to support the new version. I understand that it would be very frustrating if you're still using a Wii U, but for anyone back on that stage, you're on an old, unsupported console. it's either time to move on to the newer console, which again, you probably, even if you have, that's still frustrating, you're gonna purchase the game again, but that's the newest version of the game, that they're not gonna support it forever. I'm sure there's, actually, I don't even know about this, but it'll be interesting. I'd research before you start talking, guys. But Skyrim's on the newest consoles, and if that got any updates on the newest consoles, did they bother supporting all the oldest versions all the way back to, what was it, 2012 or something that came out? Or did they just support the newer consoles that was coming out on? Like, yeah, I don't know. If Nintendo really wanted to do the I support everyone card, they could have released this as like a standalone, like Xenoblade Torna, which would be weird for a $6 DLC to get its own standalone product. But I mean, that's always an option. But again, maybe that alienates people from having to buy the main Captain Toad to even play this DLC in the first place. So again, that's a little bit of a weird place and definitely unprecedented considering it's a $6 DLC. I'd never heard of that being standalone before. All right, well, that's gonna do it for today's weird short chat because Nat's home and honestly, I didn't get a lot of time to record today. So I thought we'd just come and have an interesting discussion about Captain Toad and everything that's revolving around that. And like I said, I was legitimately questioning all these questions about Captain Toad in the first place. So I thought someone else might find that interesting out there, and I haven't seen a spoiler-free way to get this information. Even Nintendo's trailer is like, here's all the, like, not all the, but here's some of the zones you're going to be going to, and it's like, okay, maybe I didn't want to see that since it's so short. But yeah, I'm dribbling again, so let's move on to the end where I say, for great Nintendo entertainment, you can count on me. For today's end screen, we're going to quickly say that I want to do Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, something around that for the next video, which requires me to play it. Isn't a problem, I own it on the GameCube. But it also requires me to have some sort of footage of it, which is a little bit of a weird ground because I don't know, like I can't capture it from a GameCube. I've only got from HD console, so I'm not really too sure what I'm going to do there. And I'm going to try to figure it out by tomorrow so I can talk about it. We'll see how we go. Anyway, no more endings. Goodbye.